Nightmare for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 7 of the Sunday Sauce. Tyler Adelle here with Andrew Mucaria. We couldn't thank you. I know, I had 2 weeks.
Nailed it.
We couldn't thank you enough for being here. We know we've been gone for a little bit. Mostly my fault. Definitely not Andrew's fault. But we're here. We can't wait to get into some hockey talk. We couldn't be here, of course, without help from some of our friends. First and foremost, from the Eastern Observer, from our friends over at Lividity, LLC. Also, we couldn't be here without our friends from the Primetime Rundown. Every Friday at 7 p.m., you can catch Joe, Ian, and Rob talking all things sports between the NCAA, the NFL, the MLB, and more. You can catch them right here on YouTube. You can also catch them on demand at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, I-95 Sports Network, YouTube, and Spotify. We also couldn't be here without our friends over the Essential Wrestling Podcast. Every Tuesday, 5 p.m., you can join Al, John, Ryan, and Gary as they discuss everything from the world of wrestling that week. Same thing, you can find them here at YouTube, and on demand, you can find them at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, the Eastern Observer, YouTube, and Spotify. That is a mouthful every week.
But you nail it every time.
I almost don't give myself enough of a breath to say that, and I almost pass out every time.
We're going to come back and it'll be on the floor.
Yeah, come back, my face is going to be blue. Okay, we do have a pretty decent amount to cover. You know, we did have some jersey retirements this week. We have one that happened, one coming up later today. We'll start with the one coming up later tonight. Mikko Koivu, his number's being retired by the Minnesota Wild, will be, like many other franchises this year, the first number retired by a franchise, unless you count that insanely idiotic number 1 for the Minnesota Wild fans 22 years ago.
So dumb.
I'm just saying, if I ever had to go play there and I was like Thomas Greiss or Roberto Luongo, I'd be pretty unhappy that a number that never even touched the ice I can't touch. But
yeah, pretty much.
Regardless, his number will be retired later tonight. Through his career in Minnesota, in how many games?
In Minnesota, just over 1,000.
Yeah, I almost made a typo. I thought I put 10,000 games. That would be pretty impressive.
We would need an explanation on that.
Through 1,028 games in Minnesota, 219 goals, 504 assists, 709 points, the 6th overall pick in the 2001 NHL draft, and he was also the second ever first-round pick for the Minnesota Wild, the first ever permanent captain for the Wild. If you remember, from 2000 to about 2009, they did that rotating captain every other month, which was thankfully something I didn't have to live through because I probably would have roasted it mercilessly. Second all-time in Wild goals, first all-time in Wild assists, the Wild's all-time power play points leader, Wild all-time points leader, Wild all-time games played leader. That pretty good.
That says all you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously not a ton of playoff success there. He did have an all-star game appearance through Minnesota as well. I mean, he's a day one. He's
day one. He's a hockey guy.
Exactly.
He's a hockey player.
So
played 20 minutes a night too. That's a workhorse.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Guy,
a couple seasons where he played basically every day.
You know what's crazy too? I was looking when I was doing my research this yesterday. I don't even think he turned 40 yet.
No, are you serious?
Yeah, I think he's like 38.
Yeah, you're right. 39. He actually today's yesterday, day of recording, is his birthday.
Well, yesterday was his birthday?
Yeah, happy birthday, Mikko.
Happy birthday. I don't really care, but happy birthday. The one jersey retirement that we did have going on this week, somebody you're a little bit more familiar with for positive and negative reason.
I'm a positive.
Is it a positive for you?
Yes.
Rick Nash had his jersey retired by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Same thing, pretty much just a straight OG from the second he got there. 674 games played, 289 goals, 258 assists for 547 points. He was one of 3 Rocket Richard Trophy winners in 2004, along with Ilya Kovalchuk and Jerome Iginla. Remember that whole mess? A 4-time All-Star through Columbus. He was named the 5th captain of all time. And this was all before he was dealt to the Rangers, played 6 years there, and then eventually I think he played for about 5 or 10 shifts in Boston.
Yeah, I think he played about 2 weeks there.
Yeah. So, again, congratulations to him, too. Obviously, I think it goes without saying he was an absolute monster through his days in Columbus.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's really I don't think it's too much to I think it's obvious. He definitely slowed down after that. His best years were definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you still talk to some Blue Jackets fans today, he's still, beloved. So,
yeah, I mean, he was the definition of a power forward. Like, man was a freight train that could also shoot the puck.
Well, it's not often you find a guy who's 6'5", who can score 40 goals and knock out 5 people in the same night.
Yeah, literally.
But, look, good for him. I'm glad. I like him as a player. I just don't like it when he wears Ranger colors.
Which is fair.
Which is fair. That's fine. You know what? I'm sure watching Derek Brassard skate around in an Islander jersey burned.
That hurt a lot. I loved that man.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you the truth. As far as he goes, he's actually the one Ranger I liked while he was a Ranger.
He's just a good guy.
Oh yeah, no, he's great. All right, let's get into some real good stuff.
Oh, good stuff.
So obviously we've been spending a fair amount of time in the last month or so looking into the whole Jack Eichel leaving Buffalo, debuting with Vegas situation. Did not have to wait very long to get to Buffalo.
Nope.
He probably wanted to wait a little longer, seeing that Vegas lost that game 3-1. Eichel finished that game -1, 2 shots on goal, and a block with 17:50 time on ice. There was a pretty split reaction through the building. Lots of cheers, but the boos were very heavy.
They were louder.
He was also quoted after the game, quote, that's the loudest I've heard this place ever. It only took them 7 years and me leaving for them to get into it. He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. That's a great quote. It would have been a lot better if they wouldn't have lost.
That's a Hall of Fame quote, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Unfortunately, the L overshadows the quote.
I mean, look, I, as you saw, voiced my opinion on the matter on Twitter and straight up said, look, if you booed him, you are a stupid person, which I'm sorry you are.
100%.
I was actually having this conversation yesterday with somebody. It's not okay. So I'll tell you the full story. I had a kid come to me, and in 2 separate conversations, the first he was like, "Oh, but don't you remember what the Islanders did to Tavares?" I'm like, not even a comparable situation.
Not even close.
Not even remotely close. One didn't want to be traded all year, and then jumped out of here. The other guy was being held hostage by a team doctor.
Yep.
They're not the same.
No, not at all.
Then in another conversation, they gave him Casey Middlestat and Rasmus Dahlin and Rasmus Ristolainen and Kyle Opoza. And as soon as I heard that, I said, all right, you need to stop what you're saying. That's not saying they didn't give him anything.
No.
And don't get me wrong, I'm sorry. Dylan Cousins is a good hockey player. Rasmus Dahlin, I'm sure will turn into a good defenseman. Ristolainen, we'll talk about that nonsense in a few minutes. He was never given proper tools.
No.
And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that Taylor Hall wouldn't have worked because Eichel played maybe 2 weeks with him before he got hurt. If that, what was it, like a month at most?
Yeah.
It wasn't long. So, I'm not going to say that they didn't try to give him something. If that was what they gave him, and then Eichel just ended up getting hurt, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But the point, the point really is that at that point he was still in the league for 7 years, was given nobody to play with. It was very obvious on the ice that when he was playing, he absolutely did not trust a soul near him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame him. I'm sorry.
No, I'm on his side too. Like he was not set up for success.
No, he never was. And for a team that ends up with multiple first overall picks, multiple top 5 picks, and multiple top 3 draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
Look, the thing I see with sports is like they had at least since Eichel's been here, including the Eichel pick, every one of their picks has to have been a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like I understand that not every single one of them is going to end up in the NHL. First round picks are still valuable picks, especially when you're drafting a top 5 prospect.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could have moved. You could have traded your assets for players. You could have made moves happen. I don't think it's much of a secret. Everybody knows that the Buffalo front office is very inept. They have no idea what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And even I'll give them a little bit of. I'll back off a little bit because I know that majority of the front office there now is not the one that made the decisions because they cleared everything out from the GM to the hot dog guy.
Yep.
So I won't give them a ton of lip right now, especially because like they haven't been playing terrible hockey either.
No, not at all.
I think Buffalo is another one of those teams, like we said before, and we will get to again at some point later. Their record does not justify what kind of team they are. And don't get me wrong, Buffalo is not a playoff team.
Yeah.
They're not even a playoff contender. Like, there are things that Buffalo should take away as a positive this year. One, they're better than Montreal.
Yep.
They're not going to finish in last in the Atlantic. That's a step in the right direction for them.
It is. And they've beaten some good teams.
Yeah, I mean, they beat Vegas.
They beat Vegas. They've beaten Toronto.
In the Pacific, I think, or are they third? They're third now.
They've been playing not great. They're in third behind LA
Vegas
jump over them.
Going to live or die by the goaltender for the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, 19-32-8, horrible record, no doubt. Individually, though, there are some players that are really, dare I say, stepping up this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kyle Oposo is having a pretty nice bounce back year based off of the last couple 5-goal seasons he's had.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me that Kyle Oposo this year was going to have 34 points and 15 goals, I probably would have laughed at you. Tage Thompson is a great player.
Legit.
Jeff Skinner is finally earning some of that money. 23 goals, 18 assists, 41 points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, when you have a guy who's making, what is he, $9 million a season?
Yeah.
You want it to be a little bit higher than that, but literally every point he gets from December to the end of this season will put him at a better pace than the last year.
Yeah.
So, and look, Rasmus Dahlin is, he's got 37 points. Again, like I said, Dylan Cousins, 30-point season. Not bad. Like, up and down, it's not. The problem is that, and you could see it, they get killed in the depth.
Yeah.
Outside of their first line and half of their second line and their first D pairing, this team is lost.
It gets real dark real quick.
It gets real dark real quick. And the closest thing they have to a goalie, as not so nice as that probably sounds, Craig Anderson's retiring at the end of the year. And I'm sorry, and I kind of feel the same way about Arizona. Any goalie who signs up to go to Arizona or Buffalo is just asking to never be recognized in the league again.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's hard for me to say that Buffalo is not talented. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not good, but they're not talented.
Yeah.
You know, and it shows. Like I said, I think it shows with, you know, the new front office has at least got their heads on right.
They get it. Like, yeah, this is a team that
you get what
they're going to be good. Like, in time, they're gut building blocks. They're going to be good at some point.
Yeah, and like I said, so far, like when you look at everything from this season, from top to bottom, there's not really much to complain about with their front office. As soon as they got here, most things kind of actually went pretty well. You know, you figure there's going to be okay, we're going to do this early today.
Oh God, what?
Go to our friends at Cap Friendly, not sponsored by Cap Friendly.
Oh.
That's a lot of red bars. Okay, now we'll start from the bottom, work our way up. Because granted, a lot of these guys are IR guys.
Yep.
But that's not what I'm worried about here. Look at all that money coming off.
That's a lot of commas.
That's a lot of commas. 2 to be exact. I mean, actually, next year is the last year they have to eat any dead cap.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, that's how much money they have before IR.
Crazy.
That's insane.
They need to sell themselves and make someone want to sign in Buffalo. That's going to be a tough sell.
Is it as tough as a sell as you think it is, or is it legitimately a tough sell? Because I think the sell is a little bit of an easier sell.
Now compared to 6 months ago, yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think if you look at it now compared to 6 months ago, before the front office was even cleared, you have a little bit more to sell now.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that it's like, hey, we got rid of all of these people. We're trying to go the right way now. And it's like, oh, still don't trust you, but like as crazy as that might sound.
Yeah. They're going to have some competition with teams that have similar cap space, because there's Detroit, Anaheim, Columbus are all going to have.
Aren't the Rangers similar $30 million too?
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. But I think that's gonna. We need to re-sign a lot of people, and there's going to be some trades, so I'm not counting on that.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, I know. Well, what do you call it? Without signings, without trades, I know at the moment we sit with you sit with about $30 million.
$32 million. Yeah, it's upsetting.
Right. But still, even if you want to go a completely different direction and just
you can, yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you've got free reign. You shouldn't be worried.
Yeah.
It's just one of the like. It's got to be tough being in a. Oh, here we go. Let's see.
Jinkies.
That's like 6 Jeff Skinners. It's got to be weird, I guess, in a weird way, just being in a position where like you're gonna have all of this money and not a soul wanting to come anywhere near you.
Yeah, right.
Like I feel for them too, because that's like they're trying to pull themselves out of the gutter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how they pan out, especially. You see some of the assets they've got coming up in the next couple of years. They got 3 first-round picks this year. Well, I think we discussed most of this already. Yeah. So they're guaranteed only one of these. But still, basically. You can still flip one of them. You got 3 second-round picks next year. You got 2 fifths later this year. like they've got some stuff to actually bundle up, move, and make some trades too.
They do.
Am I the only one who finds it hilarious that I just noticed this? They only have one captain.
Yeah, listen, that we don't
It's
we don't
just
judge
a
Buffalo.
Buffalo thing.
It's Buffalo.
It's such a Buffalo thing to let
That
happen.
is such a Buffalo.
But I mean, look, like I said, it'll be interesting to see how things play out for them. I still don't see. Obviously, they're not going to be a top destination this offseason. No, there's no doubt. But I do think there will be a little bit more considered than they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving forward, so after literal years of the Flames trying to trade Johnny Gaudreau out of Calgary, now their front office is saying they're going to do everything they can to re-sign him.
How can you not?
Well, that's the thing. One, how can you not? Two, that's got to be some hat trick hangover because that came the day after his hat trick.
Yeah. But Calgary just cannot stop winning.
Well, that's the thing is
They're just on such a tear.
My thing with Calgary, especially right now, is like if they were gonna do it, this is the year they need to do it. And if they don't, they are screwed. And looking at their finance situation as far as re-signing him, not going to be easy by any stretch.
Not at all.
They have $170,000 in cap space. And not a ton of big money contracts coming up this year.
No.
I mean, you think Matt Tkachuk is going to make somewhere between 9 and 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially going to arbitration.
Yeah, without question.
Another one, Mangiapane, the season he's having, he's another one who's probably going to get close to 5.
Yeah.
Brett Ritchie, you don't have to worry about too much. Trevor Lewis, you're not worried about. Brad Richardson, you're not worried about. Zadorov helps. Good Branson helps.
Yeah.
Stone's kind of like whatever. Like he doesn't help, but he doesn't hurt. Like it's a veteran minimum. Like, I personally don't look into the RFAs too much because you have their rights no matter what.
Yeah.
So they can stick around for a year and you can force them to sit. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I just don't know how they're going to make that happen.
If they're going to resign him, like it's guaranteed Zadorov's gone.
Yeah, Zadorov's definitely gone.
Same thing, because otherwise you have to trade some people. There's no other pieces that are. You have to trade somebody.
Well, you got to find somebody willing to take on the Lucci's contract, possibly.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, we said that about Edmonton, and they found Calgary. So
true.
You see, you're probably not going to move Monahan.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. See, the contract that seemed like a great contract at the time, but now is going to kill him, is the Blake Coleman contract.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, look, that almost 5
That's so much money.
That for Blake Coleman, that is a lot of money.
Dude, 6% of their cap going to him.
Yeah, another 6% going to Elias Lindholm.
Yeah.
What the hell is Lucci's got going on over here? What is modified no trade clause, no movement clause from June 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022.
Jeez.
No trade clause submits a list of 8 teams that he can be traded to on July 1st, 2022 to June 1st, 2023.
He's not going anywhere for right now.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. I just want to laugh at Calgary for a minute. How do you let a decision like this come down to the literal last second?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Like
It
that's
shows they didn't have faith in themselves in the beginning of the season. That's why. And they're like, okay, we're winning. Maybe this could be something we're going to try, actually.
yeah. I mean, they're still riding hot and heavy in first place, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they've lost 3 games since February 1st.
Yeah, I believe it. So the overall standings, they got to be in the top 5. Oh, no.
They might be just outside of it.
Yeah, literally just outside.
Because they were men beginning of the year. But, like, it's crazy what they're doing now. I mean, in terms of just from, like, betting the other day when they were playing against Tampa Bay, they were the underdogs. I'm like, okay, we're going to slam whoever these odds makers are not smart, and I'm going to slam that, and they won. They're winning, and they're winning by like a lot. They're not just squeaking out wins. They beat Tampa 4-1. They're beating these good teams by a lot.
Yeah. I do have to defend your odds makers for a second because I don't necessarily blame them for that one. I think it's just at the point of they have to be due for a loss eventually.
That's also true, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do get that.
Like I said, I just don't see how they keep him around at Johnny Gaudreau money, which is 10 mil plus. In my opinion, easily 10 mil plus. I could be wrong.
It's tough having 12 players make over $5 million a year.
But the other thing too is like, okay, so if you're Johnny Gaudreau, right, and after years of knowing that they were going to move you or trying to trade you, do you even want to stay?
No, this is my cup run year. Like, because Calgary's window is going to be so small. It's going to be a year or 2, maybe.
Yeah.
So no, I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't, and like it's like it's funny because we say that they have such a small window, but they've made the playoffs like I think 6 of the last 7 seasons or 7 of the last 8. And they get bounced in the first and second round consistently.
Yeah.
Like, that window has been blown out much longer than it should have been. Now it's just like, oh, they might actually be able to make it through that window now.
Yeah.
If it was me, honestly, if I'm Johnny Gaudreau, I wouldn't stay.
I run to Detroit.
Honestly, again, they're one of those teams that could afford him, and Dylan Larkin, Johnny Gaudreau, and Lucas Raymond on a line together just sounds mighty disgusting.
Yeah, as a cheat code.
See, but that's the thing, but I think Detroit's going to be a really hot destination this year.
I do too. With all that cap space they have and those rookies are going to attract a lot
all the cap space, and then people are going to be like, I want to play with that Mo Sider kid. I want to play with Lucas Raymond.
Yeah.
You see how much calmer Dylan Larkin looks out there now? It looks great.
He's just having a good time.
Yeah, he's just like, let the kids have fun. It's like, you're still
a kid. This underrated baller that I am.
Yeah, let me just I'm gonna stand right here. If I get the puck, maybe I'll shoot. Maybe I'll pass. Because you remember Larkin, he was just always like, I always found his game hilarious because whenever you watch like the replays of him, he's skating up he's skating through the slot and he's just constantly moving his head around like he looks like he's having a heart attack.
Honestly, yeah.
And still had 30-goal seasons, but
of course.
I can see him going to Detroit. Again, especially because they have that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Calgary they are funny people.
They are those Western Canadians.
Oh, those Westerns. As if we didn't just break out of a pandemic. Mono has found its way to the NHL.
I'm so sad.
Miro Heiskanen, he's out indefinitely with mononucleosis. Now I need a lab jacket because I said that.
Well done.
Does this change anything for the Stars going into the deadline? I think yes, and like a big time yes.
I also agree. He's one of the best players on their team. And considering
you can't afford to trade Sean Klingberg now.
No, yes.
So all of that return has disappeared.
Yeah. I'm also sad because I'm going to go see them play the Islanders in next week, and he's not going to be playing. And I just got a Miro Heiskanen jersey.
Oh, poor baby.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I think their approach is going to change fairly dramatically.
Especially with how hot they've been too, because 2 months ago they were hovering in that bubble spot. Now they've been winning like crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, like I was saying, you can't really trade Klingberg now,
No.
which sucks really for him more than it sucks for the team.
Yeah.
Because he was the one who wanted out. The team obviously doesn't want to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you're this close to a playoff push, this is one of those that kind of stings.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. 2 months ago, they were like, all right, let's try and climb to a wild card spot. Now they're,
In
6
the
points
wild
back
card.
of second place?
They're in the wild card, too.
Yeah, and there's 6 points behind St. Louis for second place in the division.
Yeah. So, really, I mean, look, I think if they make it, it's going to be a wild card. There's no doubt. Yeah, obviously, like we said, you're not going to trade Klingberg.
Nope.
If you're going to trade anybody here to possibly seal the wound a little bit or fix the wounds a little bit, the only one that would even make sense to trade would be Radulov, and that's based just off the money.
Yeah, and he's going to be. I mean, it's not going to be that tough to find someone to trade him to, but it's not going to be easy either.
No,
he's a good player, but
yeah, I mean, because you got to think you're going to be trading them to another contender who's not looking to really, they're not going to be looking to give you much either.
Yeah, because he's old as dirt, but he'll score.
Well, that's the thing. He's probably. I mean, he's got to be.
He's 35.
Oh yeah, no, I know he's 35, but he's got to be on pace this year for a 25-goal season at least, right?
Yeah, I think so. He was on their third line though, so it's like it hasn't really.
Oh, I lied. I lied by a lot.
He has 7 or 8 goals.
He has 3.
He has 3. Oh my god.
Oh, I lied.
But that's a lot of it is because of the roster. He doesn't play with Ben Sagan. He doesn't play with them.
No, I mean, look, and that's why Joe Pavelski at 37 is having another
Joey Pavs,
which is he. I think it's a little crazy, but he's got that contract he signed. Stick around in Dallas 1 year, 5.5. Because remember a couple weeks ago, I almost swore that this was it for him.
Yeah,
but I mean, look, I guess you made a good point. How do you retire after a year like this?
You can't, and especially the way Dallas has low key flipped their roster a little bit. They were getting older, and now they have Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz, Miro Heiskanen. They're all these young guys that are killing it. They might not have to pare it all down. They can just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Miro Heiskanen and making sure he's covered goes, that's honestly probably going to be next to Claude Giroux, probably the most interesting thing to watch through the trade deadline, considering we already know you're going to end up with Claude Giroux.
Please stop.
But look, it's going to happen. I'm sorry. Just deal with it.
No. We're going to get someone not him.
I'm just saying.
I will cry.
Let's move into the Hart Trophy talk. We don't really talk about
yes,
trophies.
Please.
Betting odds, for the most part, have changed dramatically in the last week or so.
Mm-hmm.
But the 5 favorites have not changed too much through the year.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into it, who is your favorite?
Come on, dude.
Even
without bias, is Igor Shesterkin. That award goes to the most valuable player to their team. Out of Matthews, Shesterkin, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Ovechkin, you take those players away from that team, and they're probably still playoff teams. You take Shesterkin away from the Rangers, and they're not even close to a playoff team.
I thought it was going to be a good idea having a Ranger fan as a co-host on this show, and I'm totally eating it for that. I can't really argue though. I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, you've seen what the Rangers are really like without him. You
It's
know what
not
I mean?
great.
Example being the Minnesota game just a couple nights ago with Georgiev.
Not great.
Which honestly, if somebody offers you guys a ham sandwich for him, you might want to take that and split it 19,000 ways.
I honestly, yeah, at this point, I'm just hoping for Georgiev for Phil Kessel.
Oh, so Phil Kessel is okay, but Closure is not.
Yes, I don't want a flyer on my team.
Okay.
And he's the hot dog king. I want him.
Yeah, I have to. I really have to agree with you. Shesterkin is just having. It's not even like he's having a great season. He's having a record-breaking,
a historic season. Yeah.
Yeah, like a historically record-breaking season. I mean, looking at his stat line for the year: 28, 7 and 3, a 202 goals against, a 939 save percentage, 3 shutouts, 3 less shutouts than the other New York goalie. But
let's talk about the quality of defense, okay?
Look, when both of our goalies finally showed up to our respective teams, we both mutually agreed that this rivalry was going to get a lot more fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look, I'll trade 28 wins for 6 shutouts every day. You know, I'd rather have the wins. Because the shutouts don't do anything else except empty the salary cap for us when the contracts come. That's all that does for us. Look, Austin Matthews is a great player. No matter whether we like Toronto or we don't. He's a top 3 player in the league. There's no, I don't think there's really going anywhere around it. McDavid, he's the other top 3 of the league, and he is just watching the other 2.
Yeah.
Leon Draisaitl, arguably in the top 3 some nights. I'm going to put him in the top 10.
I agree completely. I wouldn't put him top 3.
Only because when McDavid's not around, he doesn't seem to be really worth much.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Ovechkin, who's never not in the Hart Trophy talk. Because he's got 36 goals. He's looking for that goal to beat, to jump Yager and take sole possession of third all time in goals. He's just one who could show up for a 50-goal season at any point. Like, Ovechkin is very capable of snapping in the last week of the season and having 9 goals in 4 games.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
You know, like I think it was. I know it was pre-COVID, but maybe the year. It was actually probably the year of COVID, like before that shortened season. Did he not have almost 20 goals in like 3.5 weeks?
Probably, yeah. It was something ridiculous like that.
Insane.
Yeah.
So again, it's just he's a guy who's never going to not be in the Hart Trophy talk until he's not having 30-goal seasons anymore.
Yeah.
If I was to pick somebody not Igor Shesterkin, I'm going to be honest with you, I would pick Ovechkin. And it's not because I hate the Maple Leafs and I hate Austin Matthews. It's not because I don't want to see McDavid win another one. It's really about being well-balanced for me.
Yeah.
And look, don't get me wrong, Connor McDavid's got 30 goals, 51 assists. He's probably going to finish the season with 40 goals and 90 assists.
Yeah.
You know, there's no question. It's at 36. Ovechkin having 36 goals, 35 assists, 71 points. That's, to me, as well-rounded as you can get, especially for a guy where Alex Ovechkin would have 20-something assists a year for a while.
Yeah.
So that would be my runner-up. And then after that, this year particularly, I would have to jump to Austin Matthews. I don't think McDavid's going to be a finalist this year unless something turns between now and the award. And if he is a finalist, it almost, I hate to say it, it's almost just for the name at this point.
Unfortunately. Someone else I kind of want their name at least brought up. Like, he's not going to win, but he's kind of like a dark horse pick. He's Jonathan Hoover, though. I would like people to at least bring his name up.
The problem with him is that not enough people care about hockey in Florida, no matter how
Yeah.
good the teams are.
I mean, the guy's got 64 assists and 82 points. Like, it's unreal.
No, I agree. He's a guy who's
Yeah, I know.
he's leading the league in points, and he's not
Yeah.
even in the Hart Trophy consideration.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting. He's a guy who he's not going to be recognized for his tremendous skill and ability until he's gone.
Probably, yeah.
You know, I don't mean gone dead. I mean like retired. Like the week of his retirement is going to be like, oh, let's reflect on his career, and it's like, great. Where was this 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Like you're so behind on the ball. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna lean with you on this one. I do have to go Igor.
Yeah, I mean, the stats you read off too is after he gave up 4 goals in a period in 15 seconds the other night, which wasn't his fault, but that's how good he's been. Is that those stats are after he gave up 4 goals?
Yeah, and I mean, well, that exactly. He's sitting at a 939 with a 202 goals against. After, forgive me, I don't mean to talk poorly of your goalie, but that's after he got his ass handed to him for 20 minutes.
But that's after his defense turned into Swiss cheese. That was the worst game I've seen the Rangers play this year.
Let's just say he wins that game, letting up 1 goal with 45 saves.
Give the award now, and that's something he will do. That is something he does.
So, something we'll get into later, in our episode that's going to air later today. I forgot to mention we're doing a doubleheader today.
Doubleheader, no 7 innings, 9 innings.
No 7-inning doubleheader. What are we, losers? My name's not Rob Manfred.
Ugh, gross.
I don't like him. Yeah, we have our usual episode. It's going to air here at noon, and then we're going to have another episode just focusing on our teams at 6 p.m. So make sure you come back in a little bit. Go have a sandwich. Watch the Heritage Classic.
Watch the Heritage Classic. There you go.
Don't worry, we'll be off before the Islander game. I promise. So yeah, I just we'll get into this in a little bit more detail later on today, but going into the playoffs, wouldn't you be kind of worried that this kid is going to get burned out?
Honestly, no. Just from I don't know. I'm not overly worried about burnout. Because I think they will monitor his games, especially if they kind of go on a losing streak here, and they did have a shot at catching Carolina. They were 6 points back.
Right.
If that kind of goes out the window, and because once that's out the window, they're going to finish 2 or 3 with Pittsburgh, and that's it. Like that's what's going to happen. So they'll probably give him more time off later in the year. I'm not overly worried about it. And him just being the competitor he is, once the playoffs come, he's going to be a different animal.
I'm going to practice this clickbait stuff, right?
Oh boy.
I will give you my answer later today.
Okay.
We're halfway through this episode. No one's even going to know it's clickbait, but it was worth a shot, right?
I approve.
All right. The Arizona Coyotes are
fun time
friends that we love to make fun of. They're the little brother we just love to beat the hell out of. Are they another team that's really not as bad as their record shows? Because we have spoken about that one too.
Are they nasty? Question mark.
Can they sauce? So look, Arizona 57 games played, 18, 35, and 4, 40 points, dead last in the Central. But going back to what we were talking about earlier with the Buffalo situation, as individuals, this is not a bad team.
No.
They are all producing. Clayton Keller managed to squeeze 55 points out of his ass.
I love him so much.
Nick Schmaltz is, he's having a 38-point season. Shane Gostisbehere, who we all thought was going to the desert to die.
He found himself again.
Third on the team in scoring.
He found himself.
Fourth. I mean, damn.
Yeah, I mean, if this team, imagine this team at goaltending.
Yeah, I imagine they had a real goalie, not this this random guy that nobody knows.
If they had a goalie with under a 3 goals against average.
But it's funny you say that because let's break down their last 8 games, shall we?
Shall we? Oh,
3-1 win versus the Stars. A 3-2 loss to the Kings. Okay.
that's a hot team.
They beat the Golden Knights 3-1. Lose to Winnipeg 5-3. Okay. This is where it gets fun. They beat Colorado 2-1. Darcy Kemper played that game. They beat Ottawa 8-5. It's Ottawa, but 8 goals is still pretty damn impressive.
Yep.
Detroit stepped on their faces 9-2. And their most recent game, Thursday, a 5-4 overtime win against Toronto. Now, not only is that an overtime win against Toronto, they have swept the season series with Toronto.
Yes. That makes me so happy.
Are they getting lucky? Are they actually this good as individuals? What is this? What is happening?
I think they're a decent. They have decent players. They have good players that are making up for the abundant losses in the beginning of the year. They were losing more than they should have. Things are clicking a little more now.
Okay. I mean, you're not wrong at all. I don't know because
they're confused.
They seem like they're like as individuals, they're a good team, and this team can, with some goalies and some defense, could actually be pretty good. So why are you trying to change Jacob Chikrin? Like, I get the asset return is going to be astronomical.
Yeah,
but like again, like if I'm looking at this roster and I'm someone in the front office, I honestly I'm taking a step back and being like, hold on, we got something here. You got that garbage Louis Eriksson contract coming up soon. You got that garbage Andrew Ladd contract coming up soon. Like you got. Like you're gonna have playroom.
You're gonna have a lot of room.
What's gonna kill Arizona is honestly it's gonna be their arena situation. That's gonna be the death of them for 3 more years.
As much as I love it,
look, I love it. A
lot of us love it. The players
nobody wants to go play at Bethpage Ice Facility. I'm sorry. Just a random thing because I just got the update on my phone. Did you see the Hurricanes with the extension of Jesper Kotkaniemi? I probably just butchered that name too.
No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I did not.
It's not official yet, but it's being reported as an 8-year extension with an AAV of $5 million per.
Okay. The years scared me, but I don't hate the AAV, especially if he blows up.
Well, I think it was obviously going to be short-term high money or long-term spread the money out. So look, as long as Carolina doesn't do what literally all 32 other teams have done and fall into the no movement clause trap, who cares? But Carolina seems to have the biggest set of stones in the league, and I don't see that. Okay, fine, we won't give you a no trade clause. That is an interesting one.
Carolina's such a confusing team. They're so good, but then when they play bad teams, they play so poorly against them.
It's one of those weird things where it almost doesn't seem like they try when they play bad teams.
That's exactly it. I forget who. It might have been Kevin Weeks on NHL Net that said it. They have an ego problem. They go against these lesser teams and they don't try because they are a quote unquote lesser team and they forget that this is hockey and anybody can beat anybody on any given night.
Yeah. This is a stupid question. Who drafted Sebastian Aho?
I don't know. It wasn't Carolina?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just had a brain fart. I'm looking at their roster right now.
Oh, it says he was acquired by trade.
No, you see how on how it says it tells you how it's acquired?
Yeah.
It says that he was acquired to Carolina by offer sheet. I forgot they had to match his offer sheet from Montreal.
Oh, yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
Yep.
That's why this whole Cockney mess is even happening.
Yeah, correct.
The only problem with them is they are going to get murdered in cap this year. I can't. Yeah. See, this is what we do. We go off on tangents, and I'm glad we're doing it because this is more fun. But I mean, oofa.
Look at that. It's not pretty. It is not pretty.
I mean, don't get me wrong. For them, they're in a situation where they're lucky. They have some big contracts coming off.
Mm-hmm.
Niederreiter and his 5.25 coming off. Vincent Trocheck and his 4.75 coming off. Derek Stepan with his 1.35 coming off. Almost $3 million coming from Ian Cole. $800K coming from Brendan Smith, your favorite.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
They're going to have money to work with next year. That's not the argument. I just see, I didn't even know that this was Niederreiter's free agent year. I thought it was next year. And I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of want him back.
Do you know Niederreiter is only 29 years old?
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I was talking about him in 2006.
Because you were. Probably. I don't know.
I feel like he's been in the league forever.
I kind of want him back.
I would. He's a good hockey player.
Yeah, but I don't think he wants to be here.
No, probably not.
Well, look, he's got to understand, man. It's a different time.
It's a different time.
It's different ownership. It's different GMs, different coaches.
You have hockey's version of Tony La Russa as your coach.
You want to know what the bigger surprise here is to me?
Mm-hmm.
Vincent Trocheck is only 28.
Yeah, I do think of him as an older player.
I thought he was an old man, comes to the arena in a power scooter,
No, that Jordan Stahl is who I think of, and he's only, and all things considered, he's 33. I was thinking he was more upper 30s.
You know what's wild about Jordan Stahl too? It's funny because I actually saw this article on NHL's website last night. Jordan Stahl is 33, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at that.
Yeah,
he already broke the 1,000-game mark.
Yeah, that's insane.
To me, that's nuts.
Oh, branching off of that real quick, Mark Stahl is going to hit 1,000 games.
Yeah, that's where the article came from. It was
yes.
They'll be the first group of 3 brothers to do it. And I'm like, that doesn't sound accurate. Didn't all the Hulls do it? So that doesn't count.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they'll be the first brothers, but
yeah.
We've done 4 different tangents coming out of Arizona. We're bad at this.
Arizona is just anarchy, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how Carolina plays that one out. Let's move back to the desert dumbasses. I want to say half of it's a fluke. Half of it is actual talent. Colorado has seemed recently like they are in a little bit of a winding down, slowing down process.
Yeah.
I think they are one of those teams that needs to be and should be carrying a third goalie through the playoffs.
Yeah, honestly.
But Colorado's not going to be one of their. I'm sorry, I just don't think they're going to make any deadline moves. If it's not a goalie, I don't think they're making moves.
Yeah. But you know what? It looks like all the top teams are kind of getting a little cool, except for Calgary.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen. Just you got to see how they rebound from it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think everybody will start coming back around to the Earth level of things pretty soon.
Yeah.
So,
except maybe Florida.
let's see. What else can we talk? We like talking about trades.
We love talking about trades.
So, obviously, we've been away from the screens for a bit. So I know this is older news, but the Devils have made it known that PK Subban will more than likely be dealt by the deadline and will not be offered a contract to come back if they can't move him.
Yeah, I was going to say, thanks, because it's going to be tough to find someone to give him to.
Well, if they move him, where's he going? I already have two answers for you off the top of my head.
You can go for it because I don't think of a single team that would want him.
I don't think it's teams that want him. I think it's teams that actually just, as crazy as
Need
a defenseman. Toronto is one of them.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things where at this point in his career, when you're paying for PK Subban, you're paying for the name, not the player.
Yeah.
And Toronto loves names.
They do. Oh, they love it.
I can absolutely see him ending up there. On a cheaper deal, I could see him end up. Honestly, I could see him returning to Montreal.
Yeah.
Unless
I guess
if you really want to screw the guy over and make the next 2 months of his life actual misery, you send him to the desert. You send him to Buffalo.
You send him to Buffalo, yeah.
I can see the Rangers taking him.
I
just want to see the reaction. I'm not being serious.
The end because you will never see me again.
I just wanted to see a reaction. Send him to the Devils, though. Let him stay there.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Just
look. Here's my biggest problem, though. Like the biggest thing that scares me with a guy like him in a trade is that he's been absolute dog all year, and he's going to get traded somewhere, and he's going to have like 8 goals and 5 shifts. Probably. It's like I don't need to deal with that when I'm trying to fight for a wild card spot.
Yeah.
It's a losing battle. Don't get me wrong, but look, it ain't over till it's over. All right.
You're not wrong.
Look, especially if they play the way they've played against Columbus and Winnipeg the last 2 nights, and they do that consistently, there's a shot. Is it a likely shot? But we'll see.
Shot's a shot.
Yeah. Look, if I had to pick anywhere for him to go right now, I think he's going to Toronto. Just again, Toronto loves names. They do need a little bit of defensive help. The only thing that I think kills the Devils in the moment with that whole trade is obviously the money.
Yeah.
They're going to have
to be real bad.
I think they're going to have to be willing to eat a lot of that salary to make it happen. So we'll see what happens there. Let's see, starting to wrap up a bit. Let's see. Obviously, we spoke about Alex Ovechkin. He's looking to jump into sole possession of 3rd place all time in career goals scored. He will be looking to do that Tuesday versus the Islanders. That's almost a given.
That's a guarantee.
You don't understand, okay? There's just some kind of bad luck magnet that when somebody is playing the Islanders close to a milestone or a record, it's a guarantee.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll be right back. Watch. Look. Wait for this.
Oh, here we go.
See this hat?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I think you can assume how I got it.
I can. Yeah.
There's tape inside of it. You know what it says?
What does it say, buddy?
Alex Ovechkin scores hat trick to tie Stevie Yzerman for 9th all-time in goals scored. January 18th, 2020!
Got a little hot there. Got a little hot.
Fact of the matter is that when it comes to records milestones, this is the place to do it. And I'm not happy. I mean, look, sometimes it helps us out too.
It does.
Big Z, for example, most games played all the time by a defenseman. And then he got hurt the next day.
But hey, he still got it.
Yeah, and then last night I think he had like 9 hits in the game, which is just insane for a 45-year-old man.
Yeah, monster jam.
Let's see. Free agent tracker. Joe Pavelski, we spoke about him. He re-upped in Dallas for a year, $5.5 million per. Jared McCann re-upping in Seattle, the first player to actually sign an extension in Seattle. 5 years, $25 million, about $5 million a year on the salary cap. I don't think that's a bad deal at all. I think it's a very fair deal for both sides.
Yeah, it's fine. No complaints.
If you'd like to talk about a totally unfair, terrible, I don't know how they did this deal, the Flyers and Rasmus Ristolainen agree on a 5-year, that's 2027, 5-year, $25.5 million with an M. That's like 1 or 2 or 1.5 of Jeff Bezos' fingers dollar contract. I try to be nice and professional when we talk because we're on YouTube and you'll hear us talking, but he legitimately sucks.
He's never had a positive plus minus.
Ever.
Like,
I'm pretty sure his career plus minus is negative infinity.
Negative 174.
Are you kidding?
No, I have it up right now. I pulled his hockey reference up immediately.
I'm sorry. I know it's sitting right in front of you, and you're probably right, and I'm going to be disappointed.
It's fine.
There's no way that is a real stat.
I cannot wait for you to see it.
Fine. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's terrible. All right. You know what? I will actually give him a little bit of the benefit there. He played on a really bad Buffalo team.
Yes.
So I know a lot of that is not his fault.
But still, that's pretty aggressive.
He's actually never been positive in his life.
He came close in 2019, 2020. He almost made it.
Oh, you mean in the season that got canceled halfway through?
Yes.
Please. If that season doesn't get canceled, he still finishes negative 100. Yeah, honestly, I don't really hold that against him too much. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's brutal.
I just don't see where that contract came from.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I can't figure out.
Yeah.
How? Let's see. Anything else? Oh yeah. So I guess if you're a diehard hockey fan like you and I are, and you actually keep track of most other people and their careers and things going on elsewhere, this is probably a very heartbreaking injury. But Robbie Fabry is going to miss the rest of the season with another torn.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Like, okay, so I don't want to try to make it seem like this is such a great thing and he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It was the right ACL this time. Because remember, the first 2 ACL tears were in the left leg.
Mm-hmm.
I feel for him, especially because it looked like this year he finally was like getting it back.
Yeah.
You know? It just seemed like he was finally comfortable in Detroit. But I mean, look, he's having a very good career. But without the injury part. I mean, look, he still was credited name on and received a ring for the Stanley Cup. You know what I mean? And he was actually a pretty big contributor in that playoff series. Like he wasn't bad. So that's pretty heartbreaking for him. I hope he does well. See, and my dogs are cheering him on too. With that being said, I have paper to throw.
Yes, you do.
That was a
Beautiful.
terrible throw.
Beautiful.
No,
Just
I mean,
like Garrett Cole.
I mean, like, it's right here. It didn't go anywhere. I'm going to try that again. You know what? We missed 2 weeks. I'll do 2 throws today. It's better. Okay, I'll take it. It's not near my desk anymore. Who you got for the Heritage Classic tonight?
Dude, who cares?
Wait, you don't want to see the Buffalo Sabres and Toronto Maple Leafs play an outdoor game with Mr. Rex Specs?
You know what? Just for that, I'm rooting for Buffalo.
This is my favorite picture of all time now.
I am rooting for Buffalo now. That's it.
Buffalo. That is the little kid who plays t-ball, just walking into the batter's box, trying his best.
Oh, you're still right.
Yeah, look, I'm taking Buffalo now for that.
I'm taking it anyway. Toronto is terrible against bad teams.
I mean, look, considering that they just lost to Arizona 5-4 in overtime, I think Opozo's due for one of those 7-goal games he used to do once a year.
Buffalo also beat Toronto 5-1 like a week and a half ago.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I'm going to go Buffalo. I'm actually looking forward to this.
Actually, if you're talking in soccer terms, Buffalo on aggregate is beating Toronto 9-6 on the season.
The hell does that have to do with soccer?
That's how you determine series in soccer. Aggregate. You total up the goals from every game.
This is why nobody cares about soccer, because they can't just do things the way other people do them.
It's a World Cup year. People are going to care. And then
we got to play on a big field, and games can finish in ties. What is this?
Listen, I'm just saying Toronto has given up 9 goals to Buffalo. See, now you get it.
Goals to Arizona in one night.
True.
Oh, man, it's so fun being immature.
Isn't it?
All right. Well, everybody, go grab some lunch. Watch the Heritage Classic. Take a bathroom break. Pet your dog. I don't care what you do. Come back in a couple hours. We'll be here to talk about the Islanders and the Rangers. I'm Tyler Adelle. This is Andrew Mucaria. We cannot thank you enough. I got you twice in one day.
Ooh.
We cannot thank you enough for being here with us today. We'll see you soon.
Just a bit.
Just in a bit.